Kelly from LOCH BRIAR Knits, coming to you from a super crazy windy Nova Scotia, Canada, and this is episode 26, and it is March something. 3rd? March 3rd? Sounds good. Hold that thought. I have a tickle in my throat today, so, and my tea is a little too hot to drink yet. So, yeah, burning hot. I have my, on the corner, just sitting on the corner of Awesome and Bomb Diggity. So this is a knitting podcast. Welcome to all the returning viewers. Thank you so much for stopping by again. You guys are awesome. To all the new subscribers and new viewers, thank you so much for checking us out, and we hope you'll stay. And you can hit the subscribe button, which I think is over on this side, if you want to be notified of when new episodes go up. And let's think, administration, where to find me other than here. I'm most active on Instagram and Ravelry. My Instagram, you can find me at Kelly L. Boyce, and Ravelry is, my username is LOCH BRIAR, and there's a group for this podcast, so pop on over and check that out, and it is LOCH BRIAR Knits. And I also have a Facebook page. I talk with my hands a lot. Put them down, Kelly. No, it feels weird. So I have a Facebook page and also an Etsy shop where I sell my hand-dyed yarns, and both are called LOCH BRIAR Knits, so it's pretty easy to find me. And I think that's everything for where to find me. Unless you make a visit to Nova Scotia, then, you know, stop by. But other administration, we have a giveaway for the 1-year podiversary going on. I'm going to draw the winner for that on the next episode, just to give a chance for anybody who wants to enter to go on over to the Ravelry group. And you'll look for the 1-year podiversary. I pinned it, so it should be probably at the very top. And you just have to name or answer the question, which is if you could design 2 skeins of yarn to any colors you want, blah blah blah, then what would they be? And then the winner, I'm going to pick one of your choices, and I am going to hand dye that for you. And I thought what I would also do is, sorry, I'm rolling my sleeves up because, just because. No reason. What I would also do is I would dye up some extra skeins as well, name them after the winner, and put them in the shop. And then anybody who wants to get one can get them. It'll just be a limited amount, so grab them while they're there. And yes, I think that's everything for administration. I have to tell you, I think this is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, just because I was almost a complete monogamous knitter this last 2 weeks. But I did also get my fiber share partner package in, and that was my fiber share partner was Maria, who is at Fiber Wolf Co. I'll just put it down here on Instagram. And oh my god, it was just lovely. So you know what I thought I would do? I'm not going to show you everything because there was a lot. Like, I just got completely and utterly spoiled. But I will show you. I did show everything on Instagram, so if you wanted to pop over and check. Seriously? I hit the mother load. Okay, wait. There's no graceful way to do this. But there were a few little, like, bags, and I love this one. I love the design on it. This is the bigger one, and then there was a smaller one. There was this I love. Like, I am a huge I am a huge tree. My logo is a tree. I love all things tree. So I got this little tin that she sent me. Oh my God, I love this. And then there's like a lip balm. There's, this took hours to make. A little stress ball for my hand, which I really need because I've noticed my hands, because I've been doing a lot of knitting lately, and oh, my nose is itchy. Kind of like along here and in the joints is getting sore, and I know it's probably just, you know, it's just repetitive motion and you're sort of holding your fingers sort of stiffly. So that stress ball is gonna come in handy. It's like gushy. And then on the back of it, it's got like little exercises to do. So that's gonna be really handy. So it's gonna make a bit of a noise. And then there was lots of chocolate, but here's the thing. Oh yeah, and there were 2 different teas, and I forgot to take these up with me, so I'm just drinking my regular tea today. But I've been looking for this one everywhere, and I haven't been able to find it. I've seen other pucca, I guess is how you say it, teas, but I haven't been able to find the lemon ginger one around here, so yay! And then little chai latte mix. And here's the thing. I love black licorice. Like, I love it. So I got, oh my God, and I didn't even mention to her, I'm sure I didn't mention to her that I like licorice, but lots of black licorice. I am just, oh, I can't wait to dive in. I didn't want to open anything until, you know, I kind of showed it off a bit. Pop candy, like if anybody remembers Pop Rocks is what we called them around here. I love those. It's like a throwback to my childhood. This huge chocolate bar. And there's a couple other chocolate bars as well. And then she sent me some of her hand-dyed yarn. Look, the sparkles in that are insane. That is so lovely. And then there were a couple other little minis, and I had the card in here. Oh, I think this is it. So these are 100% superwash merino, and there's the card. Cleo. Look at the colors in these. They're beautiful. I can't wait. And then this is another now I can't remember. One of these was Norwegian, and I think one was from Denmark. And I forget now which was which. Do my glasses? No, I did bring my glasses. Wow, I'm not even going to attempt to say this, but this is a 75 BFL, 25% nylon. And look at the beautiful colors in that. It's so lovely. And then this, which my husband saw and was like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And this, I love the, it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and the colorway is called Barn Owl, and it's wool APYK.DK. So this must be the Denmark one. I love owls. Like, I love owls. Crows, owls, and chickadees are my favorite. So look at the colors. Oh, like, honestly, I cannot wait to knit with this. And I don't know. You know what I might do? I might do another vine shawl out of this. Yeah, you know what? I think I might do that. So anyway, that was, and there was like couple of little pouches. I saved as much of the tissue paper as I could because it was so beautiful. It was like trees. Oh, again with the trees. But there was also like little things for, oh yeah, a pair of scissors. I said I wasn't going to show it all. I'm kind of, whatever. She knew I was a writer, so she got me this little booklet, which is awesome. And pencils for optimists, people. I love this. There's like, yeah, because I took my glasses off, so I can't really see it, but I have time for a cup of coffee. All these like optimists, sure, I got enough time. But yeah, there's like honestly, I'm not gonna have to buy myself any junk food for a good long while. I say that, I'll mouth through that in a week. Who am I kidding? So that was my fiber share partner from Maria at Fiber Wolf Co. And thank you so much, Maria, because, I mean, that was just so generous and so awesome. It hit on knitting and my chocolate sweet tooth and the licorice and the writing and the knitting and just, it was fantastic. So that was, I got that, arrived home yesterday, and I had taken yesterday off because I had some appointments in the morning, and my plan was to, what's that random bang again? My plan was to podcast yesterday afternoon, and I got home at about 3:30, and I wanted to get it done before my husband got home, and I figured he would probably get home around 5:30. But then the package arrived. I was like, no, I gotta open this. So it's Saturday morning, so the 3rd or the 4th. Did we figure out what day it was? I don't know. It's Saturday. Anyway, so that was my fiber share extravaganza. And my fiber share partner that I was sending to Westlake Knits, her package arrived yesterday, so I know she got it, so that was really good, and she was happy with it, so yay! So monogamous knitting. I have no foes, and I have a mofo. I tried so hard to finish this before the podcast because I really wanted to show it. Like this morning, I was still trying to knit, and I'm like, who are you kidding? You don't have enough time. So, my Phoebe scarf. This thing was, I think this may have been the most addictive thing I've ever knit because it was just one of those great mindless knits. You could just sit there. You didn't have to follow a pattern because you just memorized it after the first couple lines. And, oops. It was just so enjoyable, and I can't talk. So I was trying really hard to finish it. And this is really like, I'm in the decrease section. I was so close, people. I was so close. So I don't know if I have, yeah, I do. So this was, sorry, crinkling. Nope, that's not it. There we go. So this is the Phoebe scarf by Jose Paquin, and this is what it looks like. So I did it in the colorway that, all the colorways. I did it in all the colorways that my, that Mimi from my local knit shop had done, because the first time I saw it was in her shop. She had completed it over Christmas and said it just flew off the needles. And you know what? Seriously, she was not kidding. So I used the same yarn and the same color scheme that she did because I just loved it so much. And it was the Barocco Cucha. I don't even know. Wait! Oh yeah, here we are. I do have one. I don't know how you say this because it's like Spanish, not. But that's the yarn that I used. I love this yarn. I want to make a sweater out of it. I don't know what sweater. But here it is. And let's see if I can, it's long. It's long. people, and I think it may be beyond my wingspan. But basically, so let's start at the beginning. So I used the dark gray. You have two main colors, so I used dark gray and then the light gray, and you stripe it. So we have kind of a navy blue, and then I went with the teal, and then the red, and then you stripe the main and the two main colors here before you switch over to this one. And then there's like a sage green, a gold, a light blue, and then you decrease to the end. So what you do afterwards is you put some fringe in, and I think the fringe is just along kind of the side, if I remember. I'm gonna have to go look at hers at the shop again. Well, I mean, it'll have it in the pattern, but in the pattern I think they just have it as one color for the fringe. And what Mimi did, which I think is brilliant, is she sort of did sections where it was one of the main color and then one of the colors here. So, and then the same thing down at the other end. So it looked fantastic, and I really want to do that. And I'm not a fringe person, but the fringe looked so cool the way she did it that I'm going to put it in. So this is going to be I still have to, you know, block it. Obviously, well, I have to finish it, and then I have to block it. But this is going to be awesome. And, I mean, you know what? It's even wide enough, too. You could wear it as, like, kind of a narrow shawl. So there's probably a few different ways I can style this, which is hard to do while it's still on the needles. Tea break. So, so I have pretty much been knitting on nothing but this and then one other thing that I'll show you. And every time I'm knitting on this, my husband is saying, "Is that my scarf? Is that the scarf you were going to knit me for Christmas?" I was like, "No, and you know it's not, because you picked up the yarn." And I don't think this is your style. But he's harassing me now. He wants a scarf. He's just joking, though. He knows he's not going to get it this winter. Sorry, babe. On the plus side, he does still have the scarf that I knit him a few years ago to use. So it's not like he's scarfless. Right? Anyway, this is in my loop bag, which is just, these things are my favorite. I say that, oh, little strand. So that, if you are looking to do like a scarf or a shawl, really, I can't recommend that pattern enough. It is so enjoyable. And they also have a version if you want to make like a shorter version. They tell you how many rows to shrink it down to for each color section, so that you can have like a shorter version. And I still am going to have a fair bit of the colors used in the stripes left. And I'm tempted to get another one of the pale gray and just make like a shorter scarf for somebody for a gift for Christmas, because I just really loved knitting it. It was so much fun. I want to do it all over again. So needless to say, my poor sweater, which is in one of my other loop bags, and look, I did finally get one of my enamel pins on. I did that this morning, and then I was like, where are my other enamel pins? I don't remember. I mean, I know they're in here somewhere, clearly, but I don't remember where. So my puntilla sweater. Yeah. I'm not even going to take it out of the bag. Okay, I'll take it out of the bag. Whatever. So I'm no further ahead. Seriously. That's embarrassing. But it's not like I wasn't knitting. This is going to take over once I finish the Phoebe scarf, which I should be able to do today. I'll finish knitting it today, and then I'll block it, and then I'll put the fringe on. That's probably the way you should do it, right? I don't know. That's how I'm doing it. But then I'm going to go kind of hardcore on this and try to make some headway. So, and I just remembered they were doing a knit-in over at the Loop today with my online knitting group. And shoot, I just remembered that. I'm not going to be able to make it today. I was kind of hoping I would. Anyway, neither here nor there. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't get anything done for my sweater. I think I still have a mental block about it. And I know once I get past the whole like kind of yoke section and get the shoulders attached and then I'm just going down, I'm going to be fine. It's just, I don't know, there's just something about it that freaks me out, whatever. Get over it, Kelly. Get over it. Anyway, that was what I knit on the most. Now, in the mornings, I usually take a little time before I go to the office and I finish my writing session to do a little knitting. So, last week I showed you a colorway from Log House Cottage. And I was really excited to see how the colors knit up because they were really vibrant and I was really excited. And then I cast it on and I was like, I'm not in love with the colors. And I thought, I almost was going to frog it and start like a different skein. Because, you know, sorry, shiny. Anyway, but then I thought, you know what, no, and I mentioned it to my mom, and I was like, yeah, you know what it is? It was, the yellow in it was so bright, it was throwing me off. And I don't know what, look, you know what, honestly, I'm going to glue this to my forehead when I podcast. That won't cause any damage, right? Anyway, I just found the other colors were really cool. Here it is in the cake. But for some reason, the yellow was just throwing me off. And my mom was like, well, just go a little further. Like, maybe it'll grow on you. And you know what? It did. So, now, there's two sides. There is, of course there's two sides, because I magic looped it. So there's this side, and here's the yellow. And the other ones are sort of like I don't know, they're sort of deeper. This one's kind of bright. But, so this is kind of cool. And I like how it's like jagged, the way it's knitting out. Now this one has more yellow. So, but the more I knit it, the more I like it. So it's, wow, from a distance it looks like a little, I don't know, comic booky explosion or something. So yeah, so I'm glad I did keep going with it, and I do like it. And I don't have a pair of socks anywhere near these colors, so this will be kind of fun to add to the stash. So yeah, and this is the first sock. So I've started the heel, like just started the heel flap, because I do like a heel flap and gusset, and I'm knitting these in my chagus, which I love. I love the red lace cable, honestly. And my Phoebe scarf, I actually was knitting on my Addie turbo lace, which they're really good. And I'm not sure what the difference between the Addie turbos and the Addie turbo lace is. I don't really find the points that much sharper, but maybe that must be it. I don't know. Anyway, these are my Chagus with their super sharp. Like, honestly, I don't know if that's going to show how pointy they are. My autofocus is being a pain in the butt today. Super pointy. I love the Chagas. I think they're probably my favorite needles. And I love the Addie turbos. And I love my high sharps, but I don't know. There's just something, to me, Chagas are kind of the whole package. Now, I think if I'm doing a sweater, the Addie cable, it's flexible, but it's not this flexible, so that might be a little better for doing something like a sweater or a shawl or something. I don't know. I get some weird... I was out in the wind for a second, which, oh my god, like 80k winds, people. Simmer down. Simmer down out there. So this is seriously it for my knitting. This and the Phoebe scarf. That's all I worked on this week. That's it. Okay, well, episode over. I still have a few other things. Not that I worked on, but I have a few other things. So this is in my bento bag from Fringe Supply Company. I love this bag. Boom. This is the one I usually use if I'm for going to work because it fits in the bag that holds like my lunch and my workout gear. And then this just, because it smushes. It's just a sock, right? You can just smush it down and the bag is really pliable, so that's what goes. I'm trying to see. Never mind. I've got a ridiculous amount of yarn. So here's what I thought. Because I have a ridiculous amount of yarn, I've got to seriously stash dive and start getting some projects done. So I want to do a shawl once the Phoebe scarf, I got a mental block on that today, is done. So I went on a little bit of a pattern buying binge. That's instead of yarn, I piled up on the patterns this week. I did buy some yarn. I bought 3. Okay, never mind. Whatever. My name is Kelly and I'm a yarnaholic. So I went on a pattern buying binge. And I don't know which one I'm going to do. But, so I had my sister's shawl, which their knit along I think is over because the whole thing was on sale now, or for sale. These are all paid for patterns off of Ravelry. So this is my sister's shawl, which I believe they have a podcast, but I'm not sure what it's called. Obviously not my sister's shawl. That was the knit along. Let me see. Let's put my glasses on. Honestly, Kelly, my glasses are so dirty. It's a little like looking through a fog. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's apparently 4 sisters though, so from Grand Prairie, Alberta, Canada. Yay! So anyway, I think they have a podcast. I should check that out. I haven't looked. So this was the knit along, the mystery knit along they did, and each sister, I guess, contributed. Might as well leave those close at hand. Contributed a part to the shawl, and see if they have. know they have a picture of the finished one. I don't know if I did it in color or not. Maybe? Oh, you know what? They probably didn't because it was a mystery knit along. But that's sort of the shape of the shawl. So that's one, and that takes kind of 3 skeins, which would kind of work with the yarns that I picked. I picked out 3 skeins of yarn, 2 from my stash, and 1 I bought. I actually had the colorway, but I had a sweaters quantity, and I'm hanging onto that for a sweater that I want to knit, and I didn't want to like stash dive into that. So I picked up the same colorway. The other one is, I'm just going to leave these on. It might be a bit of a glare. Maybe it won't get through the dirt and fog on them. Anyway, this is by Tammy Gore. It's called The Drifter, and it's 3 colors. So that is, see if I can find a bigger picture. That's one of the options. So if any of you guys have actually knit any of these, just let me know. It's going to be a good sized one. I kind of like them a little smaller just because I'm only like 5'2". I'm not a big person, so I only have so much room here to fit them. But whatever. So this is Gelato by Vera Valimaki, and I think there's a bigger. This is in black and white, but it kind of gives you a bit of an idea. So that's an option. I think this is, I don't know if this is a 2-color. Oh no. No, it's a 3-color. And there's like some striping going on. I don't know if that's going to work with the colors that I have picked out, so I might save that for another one. Then there is Helen Stewart, because Helen Stewart, seriously, this is the Knothole Tree. I think she just released this one. This is a 2-color shawl, so I may stash dive some, yeah, because there's plenty there to stash dive from for this one, but I really want to do this one. I love the details in it. I don't know, let's see if I can get it up close here. So there's like the eyelets here. I think this is just like a garter ridge. This is little like notches in it. They almost look like little, I don't know, little leaves or something, which makes sense. Or knotholes. Maybe that's what, there we go, represents the knotholes. And then some more little like leaves up here. These are similar to the stitch pattern, I think, that was used in the old vine shawl. So number 1, I'll have some experience with it. And number 2, hopefully I'll have learned from my mistakes from the old vine shawl where I kind of messed it up on the last row. And if not, whatever. So here's like a bit of a close-up of it. That kind of gives you an idea. But this one, I'm really excited to try this one. And the thing I love about Helen Stewart's patterns is that she'll sort of give the details here and the row here, so you can check it off as you go, which for me is really good because it's just good. And then of course, Hohi and her washed out shawl. Hohi Locatelli does like the most awesome patterns. And this is, it's like faded stripes and lace, and it uses 3 colors as well. And it's like really nice and light, so that's going to be perfect for spring. So that is a bit of a front runner. The only thing, well, no, I guess I could stripe it. So I'll show you the, oops. I'll show you the ones I have in mind. So they're all lichen and lace, who are one of my favorites, hand dyers. So these were the 2 skeins that I already had. So they're kind of different shades of gray. This is her pewter shade, and this one is the silver fox shade. So the third one is her lichen base. So I think that these will go really nice together. And hang on, I'm going to attempt something that may or may not work. Yeah. So these are all on her singles base. So I've never actually knit a shawl. Oh no, that's not true. I did the not the Find Your Fade, the Something Your Fade for my sister, which I'm totally blanking, but Andrea Mowry. So I think these blend. They're nice mild colors, which I love, and of course gray, because gray and then green. Really throw some earth tones at me. I'm a happy camper. So these are the three that I want to use, and I want to try to use as like as much of each as possible. So I'm gonna, I think, maybe go through and see which one really uses up like a good portion of each of the yarns. And if I have a little of this one left over, it's okay, because this is the colorway that I had a sweater's quantity of. So I can just save that, the leftovers, for the sweater project in case I need it. So yeah, so I really, I love these. Like, I love these colors. These are like totally my colors. Totally. So I have to figure out this weekend which one I'm going to knit, and then I need to cast it on, and then I need to not let it take over my entire knitting, because I still have to finish my my sweater. I gotta give the sweater some love. So anyway, that's my shawl. So if you guys have any other three skein shawls, or you know, 3 colorway shawls that you really liked, feel free to drop me a little note down below and I will check them out. And even if I don't use it for that, it's always good to find like new shawls that maybe I wouldn't have run across or haven't yet. So, you know, let me know. Let me know. I'm really dry today. So, here's the other thing I bought. I forgot I bought these. I bought little wooden buttons. So, there is, let's see if I can get those to focus. So there's an older gentleman in the hood. He in the HRM, which is kind of the Halifax Regional Municipality, who makes these, and like, he's an older gentleman, and he brings these into the Loop, the local yarn store, and I had a hard time trying to decide which ones I wanted. I got the smaller ones because I thought, what might be nice? I want to get some hats knit up, and I like the idea of having like kind of 2 little buttons maybe on the brim, so I might kind of do that. 2 little buttons on the brim. And I love wooden buttons, so I got some of those. And I don't know the gentleman's name, but they weren't that expensive, like, and they're beautiful. They're so well done, and they're nice and smooth. They still got some of the bark on them, so I love them. I love these. It's just like a nice kind of rustic thing. So the other thing I got, and oops. So I always like to put in some stitch markers in my packages when I mail them out for the hand-dyed yarn. So I got some more supplies for that. Different color beads, rings, rattling, sorry. So check this out, people. It's got a little handle. It's also got some garbage in it. So I get that at IKEA. I love this. Like, honestly. What is it called? The Risatorp. So they had them in white and blue, but I like the blue. And they were like, I don't know, $12. And it's metal. Oh, I love the Swedes. Thank you for IKEA. Yeah, so this is really good for kind of keeping us, like whatever I'm working on, and having it all in one place. So when I'm done with it, I can kind of, because I usually knit upstairs on the couch, or like if we're watching TV, and this will kind of keep it all in one place, so it's not rolling around or the dog doesn't decide to kind of run off with it. And it's just, it's lovely. I love IKEA. Oh my God, I love IKEA. My boss hates IKEA because where they built it, it's really kind of, I think it's kind of dumb. I'm sure everybody that lives in his neighborhood doesn't think it's kind of dumb, but he lives right on a lake and it's a beautiful piece of property. And in the distance up on the hill is the IKEA. They built the IKEA. So he says it's totally ruined his view. And I'm thinking, well, unless you're like kind of looking like this, you're not really. I mean, you know it's there, but it's not really ruining your view, because if you hold your head straight on, you're just got a beautiful view of the lake and all the trees surrounding it. So every time I go to IKEA, I just want to take a picture and text him the picture. Is that grounds for getting fired? I don't think so. So that was that. And the other yarn that I bought, Amanda from Sweet Skein of Mine, she has a podcast, so I'll just pop it down here. But she also has an Etsy shop, and I'll also pop that down here. It's called Sweet Skein of Mine, and honestly, every time I say it, I get Sweet Child of Mine stuck in my head, and it won't come out. Thank you, Amanda. But she has this colorway, Donut Kill My Vibe. Let me see. So there we go. Donut Kill My Vibe, honestly. And the colors in it. I can't. Like, look at them. Oh my God, it's like sprinkles on a donut. Oh, now I'm really hungry. Look at them. Oh, it's just like, so I thought this would just look beautiful in a shawl. And check this out. A little stitch marker that she sent with it. It's like a little skein of yarn. So I got two, because I am going to make a shawl out of them. So I have to find a 2 skein, which I don't think will be too difficult. Skein. And even if it's like 1 skein and a bit, that'll also be okay, because then I'll take the leftovers and make a pair of socks out of them. So definitely go and check out her her shop, and you know, I'll pop it down here. She's got some beautiful colorways. She lives up in Fredericton, New Brunswick, so it is a shame she's not closer. I think she would be a blast to hang out with. Seriously, I'm gonna have to do a remote knit in. So that, ta-da! That is that, people. That's my acquisitions. So it wasn't too bad. That and the, see, now I can go, You're all going in here. So that's it. That is, that was my knitting for this week. 2 weeks. It's weird being a monogamous knitter, because I really, as fanatical as I was about knitting on the Phoebe scarf, I was also in my head thinking, oh my God, I want to cast on this, because everybody seemed to come out with new patterns in the last 2 weeks. And I was losing my mind. And then I was like, oh, and I also want to do the Weekender. sweater. I wonder if I have yarn for that, and blah 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 blah. Like there's just like I just want to knit all of the things. All of the things. Uter agrees with me. He thinks I should knit all of the things too. I should just quit my day job and just knit full time. That's not gonna happen. No? Stupid mortgage. So let's see, what else happened this week? 2 weeks. Nothing. Oh! I don't know if I can do this or not. I don't know if these will show. I had 2 pictures I was getting custom framed for my office, and I'm going to attempt to show them to you. I bought these pictures when I first bought this house, so that was, God, 17 years ago? Almost 18 years ago? No, wait. No. 2001. 17 years ago. It'll be 17 years ago in April. And I was going to get them custom framed, but, you know, I bought the house. I bought the house by myself, so I was, you know, you're carrying all the bills yourself, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have the money really left over for custom framing. And I didn't want to just, like, frame them crappy, because I love the pictures so much. So now, 17 years later, I finally got around to custom framing them. So, here they are, and I'll see. Here's the first one. It's like an old farmhouse and barn, and I did kind of a rustic sort of barn framing with, because I have pops of red in the office, so I wanted to do like a deep sort of burn red color. So that's the first one. Let's see if I can get it up without, I don't know if this will work or not. That's the first one. And then the second one is similar but different. Loop. So it's all by the same painter, and actually I don't know who the painter is now because, so this is sort of a night shot, snowy winter. It's just lovely. Like, oh, I love these. So I have to hang those up. They're going like on the wall over there. And yeah, so I got that done. And then what else did I do? Oh, I forgot. I'll do that in a minute. So anyway, then the other thing was we went to IKEA, because apparently that's my second home now. We had, I think I mentioned in previous episode, my father-in-law, who lives in Toronto, bought a summer house down here. It's not really a summer house, it's a house. It's a salt box house. And for us to use, and then he would have a place to stay when he came down, rather than, you know, staying at our house. And, you know, if he wanted to go for an extended stay, you know, if you're staying at somebody's house, you don't always want to say, hey, I'm gonna hang out at your place for 10 days. But there was, you know, no furniture in it. So he's sending down some things from his place, but like just, I think he's sending down a couch and a coffee table, you know, and like a few little things like that. Well, not that couch is little, but, you know, like then some other, like there's a chest, and I think there's, I don't know. Anyway, and he's sending down all of the kitchen stuff. So that left 4 bedrooms, finished basement, and the rest of the living room that had to be furnished. And of course that was my job, because he didn't want to leave it to the guys. So we went to IKEA and we kind of picked out all of the big furniture. So like the beds and the dressers and the chairs, other chairs to go in the living room, and just like, you know, everything you kind of need to finish the upstairs of the house, some of the basement. I guess my husband's brother, my brother-in-law, has a couch in storage that he doesn't use. It's a sectional, so I think he's sending that down as well. And then we got some artwork, but I want to wait till we get all the pieces together to kind of get a sense of what we need. So we spent about 3 hours at IKEA just like picking everything out. And then it was delivered. I thought it would take 2 weeks for delivery, and it took like literally, we could have had it in 2 days, but I thought I've already got Friday off, so I'll just take Thursday off as well. And then I had to wait down at the house, and all I knew was they were going to be there between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. So my husband was sick that day, so I had the glorious job of going down there and waiting. So there's this really great cafe, grocery, like local grocery store. It's not even a grocery store really, but they have like local vegetables from the farmers, and they have local meat from the farmers, things like that. But they also have a coffee bar, so you can get like, you know, lattes, coffee, tea, blah, blah, blah. And they usually have sandwiches, but they have these organic and vegan, I think they're vegan. I think they are. Anyway, gluten-free peanut butter balls. And they are so amazing. Like, I'm pretty particular about my peanut butter balls, and these are my favorite. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they put into them. I don't know what they don't put into them, but it's delicious. And so I stopped and I got my chai latte and my big, I think there's 8. They're 8 and they're like this big. I didn't eat them all at once. I ate them over 2 days, but I took those down with me. And then I had I had some leftovers from supper. I had those in a Tupperware because I was like, I may be there for a while. And I have a big appetite and I like to eat. And I don't like to get hungry. So I was down there and I had my knitting. I took my Phoebe scarf down with me. And I had a couple other projects in there because I thought, you know, if I want to mix it up, if I end up being there for a full 12 hours. As it was, they arrived at 11:30. It took them, I think, less than half an hour to carry everything up. The deal is that you can designate one room for them to go into, or to put all the stuff into. So, poor guys, I had them take it to the upstairs bedroom. And then after they left, I just sort of took an inventory to make sure everything arrived, and then I just went and pushed everything into the proper room that it was going into. So that was pretty much the week. So the other thing is we had a question, and I don't have do I have my phone here? I have like an Ask Me Anything thread in the Ravelry group, so if you have any questions on anything, it doesn't have to be knitting related, just whatever, feel free to pop in there. And so Dr. Farwell, I think it's Dr. Farwell. I'm going to assume it's doctor. She or he asks, I'd love to hear more about your writing process. Do you have a set time to write each day? What do you do when you just don't feel motivated? So that's a little timely because I really haven't felt motivated to write lately. I kind of burned myself out writing 7 days a week for 3 years, and so I took 6 months off, and I think I might have mentioned this in another podcast, just to kind of give myself a creative break. And when I stopped writing, that's sort of when I started knitting hardcore again and going kind of crazy with that. So now I'm trying to get back into it because I have 1 book left in a 10-book series that I'm writing. And I sort of said to my readers that yes, there's going to be a 10th book and I'm working on it and it'll be out in, I think, July. But I think I'm still a little burned out as far as writing that type of book, which is historical romance. It's set in the Regency series, and I love the books. I love the characters. I've really enjoyed writing the series. I love it. But creatively, I just feel this desperate need to write something completely different. And Creatively, I just feel like the pull to be doing that, which is distracting me from trying to finish the one book I have left in the series. But I think I have about, I have 100 pages written, but then I've gone back and I've changed some things. So I've rewritten the first 60 pages. So I really have 60 pages of the story done. And that means I probably have at least 200 pages left to write. And I have 8 weeks to do it in. So motivated or not, and this is sort of the difference, I think, between maybe writing as a hobby and writing as a published author where it's your income, is that it doesn't matter if you're motivated or not. It's the same as if you were to wake up and you have a regular day job, which I also have, but I don't have the option for that of saying, you know, I'm just not feeling motivated to go into the office today, so I'm just not going to do it. And the fact of the matter is it's the same with writing, because as much as it is a creative thing, it's also a job. So I have to show up every day. Or what I had done, I had been showing up every day, 7 days a week, you know, for 3 years. And that turned out not to be a healthy balance. So I had curtailed it to 5 days a week. And that was actually a much better balance. But I still didn't have my focus back yet, that I need to really get a book done. So I ended up sort of not going at it with the same level of like intensity or focus that I needed to, and now I'm a little behind the 8 ball. So for the next 8 weeks, I'm probably going to have to write 7 days a week. And then once that's done and it's off to my editor, then I can start working on the new book. Now, I'll still have to do revisions on the book that I'm writing right now, which is fine. I love revisions. That's where I really write the book. I write the book in revisions. I get the first draft down, then I get the notes from my editor, and then that's where the magic happens in revisions. That's where everything comes together. So as far as how do I motivate myself when I'm just not feeling it, I don't have a choice. Motivated or not motivated, I have to write because I have a deadline. So it's the same as any kind of work project. If you've got a deadline, you have to meet your deadline. So, and once I get into it, like I may start in the morning and I'm like, oh, I just don't want to write. I just don't want to write. I want to knit. I want to play. I want to watch a podcast. I want, you know, whatever. Then it's not a matter of, well, okay, I'll just do those things instead. You just, once you get into it, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot, I really like the story. Yeah. And then you're off to the races and you're fine. As for what my writing schedule is, I'm a very scheduled person, so I work better if I have a really set schedule. So I get up at a little before 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I get ready for the day job work, and I go to the coffee shop, which is near my work, and I get there at about a little before 6:30, and I write until about 8:15, 8:30, and then I go to the day job. And then on the weekends, I'll usually get up early for the weekend. Like I'll get up at around 7, and then I'll kind of have some coffee. It's a more leisurely wake up than the one through the week where it's like, rush, get ready, get out the door. And then usually by about 9 o'clock, I'm down at the coffee shop, and I'll usually write for It kind of depends on what we have going on, because that's also time to spend with my husband and whatever. But I'll usually write for about 2 or 3 hours, and then I've got the rest of the day to myself. I am a morning writer, so I always write in the morning. If I leave it till the end of the day, I'm just brain dead. And I don't know, it's like you've got all these other things going on in your brain by then. So I just find I'm much more focused and creative in the morning. So that's about, I think that answers the question. But if you do have any questions on anything, like, just go to the Ravelry group in the Ask Me Anything thread, and just pop it in there and we'll answer it on the podcast. And then, yeah. So I think that's everything. So I feel like for somebody who didn't really have a lot to talk about, I feel like I've chatted for a long time. So again, thanks everybody for coming back. If you're a returning viewer and subscriber, and if you're a new viewer, just hit the subscribe button to be notified when the next one of these sides when the next episode comes out. And hopefully I will have some more works in progress going on next week or next episode to talk about. And if you like the episode, give it a thumbs up. That really helps get the word out and get the podcast seen by more people. We get some more groups coming in. If you have any questions or anything, you can either put them over in the Ravelry group or in the drop-down bar, and I'll check that. And I think that's it. So thanks for showing up. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. And until next time, happy knitting.